Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. My name is Jessica and ThisKiwi bought some more books even though she wasn't supposed to. Some of them were presents. So if we don't count that, I still bought some books. Hello and welcome to 2024. I'm aware there's already videos out by now, but welcome again, I guess. So the first book we're going to start with is a book that I got my 3-year-old niece to pick out while we were in an op shop. For those of you in America, that's a thrift store. But my 3-year-old niece picked this out, maybe with the help of my sister. And I said to them at the time, you can't show me what this is. You have to keep it a secret and I'll open it up for my next Christmas. And we're past Christmas, but here it is. So it's called The Bread with 7 Crusts by Suzanne Tempe. Obviously, I have no idea what this is about. First of all, I can see that it's an Australian fiction set around World War II. An Italian prisoner of war is dropped into a small rural outpost on the edge of Western Australia wheat belt. He has never seen a place so colourless and flat. He has never met anyone like Max Nash, the young and struggling owner of the farm. In Italy, the bread with 7 crusts is the hardest crust you will ever earn. This is a story about identity and exile, passion and conflicting loyalty. Okay, so this looks like it could be an interesting read. There might be a little romance in there, which would be nice, but I think it's mainly about someone just finding themselves in a country or a place where they're not supposed to be, or it's not their home. And so I think maybe he just kind of finds himself at this farm, at this wheat farm. So that should be very interesting. I think that'll be a good little read. So that is The Bread with 7 Crusts by Suzanne Tempe. And so the next one that I want to mention is Crescent City, The House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. And I've heard a lot about this book, a lot of great things. Everyone keeps raving about it. I just want to say thank you to Emma from Christchurch who sent this to me. Very appreciative. And I believe it's a fantasy, but set in a world that's like in the future. And so whether it's dystopian, but you've got fairies, and I believe you've got vampires, and you've got angels, and you've got shapeshifters and demons. And yeah, that is very small writing. This is going to be an intimidating read for me. But I'm quite excited. I have mainly stayed away from any spoilers for this, so I don't particularly know a lot about it. I just know that it's very, very popular, and I will have to get going on reading this very soon. So that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Look at this cover. Isn't this like the greatest cover ever? I love it. It's gorgeous. The next book I got, which has been on my must read for actually quite a few years now, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And again, I've heard some amazing things about this. I believe it's about a woman who makes a deal with the devil or makes a deal with death in order to achieve immortality, but I believe that like nobody can see her or nobody can remember her or something along those lines. And I believe that death or the devil, whomever that is that she makes the deal with, I believe they start forming a friendship as well. Again, very pretty cover. Very pretty cover. That is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue from V.E. Schwab. The next one that I want to show you that I got was Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, and I have actually started reading this. I'm not quite halfway through yet, and I'm really, really, really enjoying it. It is about I don't know whether it's a haunted house or whether it's a sentient house, but it's about this girl, Opal, who somehow manages to gain access to Starling House, although it's been closed and nobody's seen any inhabitants for so many years. And so she gains access, she gets a job at this house, this manor, and she starts cleaning, and I'm assuming that horrible stuff happens, but then you also get the perspective of the owner of the property. I can't remember his name. Arthur. And then you've got this journalist lady who is wanting to get the inside scoop on the house as well. So it's quite a story, and I'm getting the sensation as I'm reading it that there's a bit of unreliable narration that's happening because you're getting so many different stories by different people of the same house. And so at the moment I'm wondering which is real. But that is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. The next book that I got was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Gonna be honest, I know bugger all about this apart from it's a dark academia. It's kind of like one of the original dark academias. When Richard Papin joins an elite group of clever misfits in his New England college, it seems he can finally become the person he wants to be, but the moral boundaries he will cross with his new friends and the deaths they're responsible for will change their lives forever. The Secret History recounts the terrible price we pay for mistakes made on the dark journey to adulthood. I picked this up kind of on a whim, knowing that it was kind of like the original Dark Academia. I've seen it a bit through BookTube lately, and so I wanted to give it a try. So that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. The next book that I got was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and I believe this is a retelling of Achilles and Troy and apparently Helen of Sparta, according to the back. Again, I don't know a whole lot about this. I tend to like going into books a bit blind, but I have heard nothing but good things about this book, and this will be read this year. I have plans to read this year, so I'm very happy to have my hands on it. That is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So these next books that I'm going to talk to you about are mostly op shop buys. So some of them will be quite old or quite unique that I haven't seen around BookTube. And so we're starting off with False Heart by Laura Lamb. Oh wow, that's shiny. So I just had to turn my ring light off because this book is really shiny. And this is False Hearts by Laura Lamb. And there's actually a prompt in Pokemon to read this first quarter of the year, to read a book with a shiny cover. So I will actually probably use this book for that one. Again, don't know a whole lot about it. Picked it up on a whim and pretty much purely based on the cover, to be honest. So I'm assuming this is like a crime drama type situation, which should be interesting. So that was False Hearts by Laura Lamb. The next book that I picked up was Wonder by R.J. Palacio. We'll go with that. If you've seen the movie, it's the most wholesome, beautiful movie ever. The back doesn't tell you much. It says, "My name is August. I won't describe what I look like. Whatever you're thinking, it's probably worse." And so this is about a boy who goes to school for the first time and is terribly bullied by the way he looks, and he tries to wear like an astronaut helmet or something to hide his face because of the deformities that he's got. And he started off in homeschool, but he's in public school now. And while he was terribly bullied, he also started making some friends as well. And it's following his journey through that. And it's so wholesome, so lovely. I haven't read the book, but I really want to. So that is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Kind of on the same vein of young people, we have See You in the Cosmos by Jack Chen. And honestly, I saw this and loved the cover. And it's about Alex, who's 11 years old, and he wants to launch his iPod into space. With a series of audio recordings, he will show other life forms out in the cosmos what life on Earth, his Earth, is really like. But for a boy with a long-dead dad, a troubled mum, and a mostly not-around brother, Alex struggles with the big questions. I think this is going to be quite wholesome. I'm hoping it gives me the description of this gives me the same vibe as The Improbable Life of Ricky Bird. So I'm hoping it's written a bit better than that. But yeah, I think this will be a nice, easy to read. It also mentions Wonder on the testimonials at the top, saying, "I haven't read anything that has moved me this much since Wonder." So that's quite an accolade, and I will be very interested to see this. It should be a very quick little read. So that is See You in the Cosmos by Jack Chen. The other one that I picked up was A Game of Death by David Hosp. And this sounds almost sci-fi dystopian, like it's very technology type thing. And I'm sure I've seen movies or TV shows with the same kind of concept, but it's about someone who develops technologies where you can almost go into AI and completely live any dream that you want to. Imagine being able to create and experience your deepest dreams and your darkest fantasies. Boston entrepreneur and techno whiz kid Nick Caldwell has done just that. So very excited to get to this one. That is Game of Death by David Hosp. So I picked up a classic in this haul. Not really one for classics. I'm kind of intimidated by them, but this is the one classic that I've actually really wanted to read for quite some time now, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And just the premise of it really intrigues me, knowing about what this picture is and how it absorbs all of Dorian's sins just so he can stay young and beautiful, I think is such a fascinating subject. It's a creative look, I think, at vanity, and what people are willing to do to stay young. I've seen a lot of people who have read this that have put this on their best of whichever year books. So this is one to watch out for. I think I'm less intimidated by this than a lot of other classics. So we'll see how it goes. I do have very high expectations. So this is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And so for these next ones, these are starts of series, and I haven't got all of the books in the series, but I'm either slowly getting them from op shops or I might need to borrow from the library. But first up we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Very excited for this one. I've heard such great things. Almost like a Hunger Games meets escape room type thing, I believe. I believe there's a girl that gets something in a will of a billionaire, but she doesn't know anything about him. Yeah, this mansion has like all of these puzzles and secrets and codes, and I love escape rooms. I don't believe there's many books that I've read that takes this escape room type thing, but this is one of the series that I really want to read and finish this year. So that is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So the next book is The Raven Boys, and I'm not going to lie, I picked this up because I've heard it through BOOKTUBE somewhere. I believe it's young adult fantasy, kind of like fantasy romance. And it came into my work and I got excited and I picked it up. I don't really know a whole lot about this. It sounds like there's some kind of love interest between a girl named Blue and a guy named Gainsey, and Gainsey is apparently some rich student that she's been told to stay away from, or like anyone from his school, she's been told to stay away from them. And so there's kind of a romance between those two. What have I heard about this? I haven't heard much, but the name rang a bell. And because the name rang a bell, I had to get it. So we'll see. I'll be kind of going into this one a bit blind. But that is The Raven Boys by Maggie. The next one that I picked up is the first book in the series, and that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So there's a girl named Poppy that is waiting for something called the Ascension, but she doesn't want to sit on her ass. She wants to be with the guards of their particular realm and help and start fighting and training. But in the end, it's kind of not her oh, that's pretty. It's kind of not her decision to make. So she meets Hawk. What a name. She meets Hawk, who is a guard kind of designed to protect her until she goes through this ascension. And from the sound of it, they start a relationship. And then I believe there's some kind of curse or gods or someone as well that will come into the mix. So that is from Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So the next books, they are a part of the series. I can't read the series yet because I don't have all of them, and that is 2 of the Hunger Games books. And the reason I can't read all of them yet, and they will be for a vlog, is because I don't have Catching Fire. I have Hunger Games, and I have Mockingjay, and I don't have Catching Fire. Nor do I have a songbird of Ballads and Snakes. Is that the word? The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But I mean, that's easier to overcome than not having the middle book. We all know what the Hunger Games is. I don't really need to explain it. It's about a teenage girl who gets chosen to battle it out in an arena with 23 other people, and they are in this world where they're separated by these districts, and her objective is to kill all of these people or stay hidden. And so that's her journey going through that. And obviously, as we go along the stories, there's more and more that happens, and it's not just about the Hunger Games anymore. It becomes more political. So that was the Hunger Games and Mockingjay. Now the last book I want to talk to you about. I got this because I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and I've seen a few videos about it, and I like puzzles. That was Kane's Jawbone by Torquemada. And there was a company in New Zealand, and I don't know which one it was, but they were running a competition to win, I think, was it $1,000 or $1,200 worth of books for completing this and putting it in the right order and figuring out who murdered who within the story. And I've had a look at it. I don't think I'm gonna solve this by the 31st of January, which is when the deadline of this competition is. But at some point, we will solve this. We will solve this. But that point is not right now. So that is Kane's Jawbone by Torquemada. So there you have it. Those are my books. That is my book haul. It's a few books. There's a bit more than I was expecting there, but never mind. What did you think? What books in that list have you read? I'm fairly certain most people have read The Hunger Games. Most people meaning not me. But any of the other books that I've mentioned today, have you read them, and what did you think about them? Are there any books on this list that you think I should prioritise? So with that, hopefully you have a good day, a good night, a good afternoon from wherever you are in the world. That was my book haul, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!